Thank you for joining us. You're listening to the Write Project podcast and radio program. This is a show about writing and modern Newfoundland author culture. This program is produced and recorded at CHMR FM 93.5 FM in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, and is aired on other great stations in the province and elsewhere in the country. It can also be heard online at www.chmr.ca. I'm your host, Matthew LeDrew, author of such novels as Touch Your Nose and Jacoby Street, and founder of Engine Books. Let's see what we have today. Well, thank you all for joining us here on the Write Project podcast. I am here with Paul David Power. He's got a new book, Crippled, out through Breakwater Books, which is a story about love, death, life, and redemption. So just little themes, nothing too heavy, you know what I mean? Congratulations on the book, Paul. I've read it. It is lovely, absolutely. You're right, it is. So the description's apt. It's very, very powerful. I'm looking forward to in non-COVID times when I can get out to the Playhouse again to actually come out, bring the wife out and see it. But thanks for coming on and bringing this to us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Paul, did you ever consider writing under a pseudonym at any point in your career?
No. Well, the reason I go, David is my middle name. I go by Paul David Power because there is a Paul Power who does an awesome job on VOWR radio. And everybody knows him. And for the longest time, they thought that was me. So I go by Paul David Power for that. But the funny story, when I was in elementary school or whatever, I had big Hollywood aspirations. And my Hollywood name that I have a twin sister who always makes fun of me. She keeps ripping me to this day. It was going to be it was when Michael J. Fox and all were very popular. So it was going to be David J. Power, and that was going to be my Hollywood name. So I guess yes, I considered it when I was going to start my movie career, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm still waiting.
Yeah, it'll happen. Let's go.
Sure, any day.
Yeah, any day. Yep. Do you view writing as a kind of spiritual practice at all?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, absolutely. But it depends on what I'm writing. Definitely Crippled. Definitely pieces I've written on the creative side. I've been paid to write for many, many years, but a lot of the times it was, in the corporate world, like I wrote, blogs for companies and government, speeches and news releases and all that sort of stuff, which is a real slog because you're writing, not necessarily what you believe in. So, but when I'm writing something that I truly believe in, whether it be I believe in the story, I believe in the character, or I believe in the situation, it is spiritual and fulfilling. I get lost in this space that is sacred, for lack of a better word, but there's nothing else like it in my life where I get lost in my own head, but it's action oriented. There's things happening. And I definitely remember early on writing, and I was writing one of my first plays, and I had an idea about a character to do something, and I took a break and I was thinking, no, I can't do that. And then it dawned on me, yes, I can. Like, I'm in control of this world. You can do whatever you want, right? And I found that spiritual because it gave me that sense of, empowerment that a lot of the times we don't have in our own lives, but I can find it in my writing and creating this world or creating this character, and it fulfills me. And as an artist, I have to get things out in some way, and for me, it's usually the writing.
Awesome. I'm glad. Okay, that's really cool. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm
You're inspiring me now to get. You are inspiring me today to get back to that one act I have to do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you got to do that. 100%. Yeah. On the other side of inspiration, what is your writing kryptonite? What is a thing that if this thing happens, that's it. The writing's done for today.
You know what? No, it's more procrastination, and I think that comes. I don't know what it comes from. It comes from fear, I guess, that something's not going to be good, or you're looking at that blank screen or blank page, and because once I get rolling, it's great. Kryptonite, though, is the kryptonite for me is reality. When I write something, like I'm a night person, and I'll write something late at night, and I think it's great. Great. I'm so happy with myself. I'm brilliant. Oh my gosh, I'm so talented. Go to bed, get up. And next time I look at it, it's like, this sucks. And that could be a kryptonite in the way of like, I don't know if I want to carry on with this, So it's that pattern.
Yeah, big time. Big time. I try to go with blinders on, like it's horrible, but I'm like, no, don't look at it till it's done because you'll stop.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have noticed, right? Like, don't do that in the way of you can waste so much time or get stuck on one line or one paragraph, right? Or one description, and yeah, it's a roadblock.
If you're writing like were transformed into an animal, what animal would that be?
A dolphin.
A dolphin. All right. I gotta know why. That's a new one. Yeah. That's a new one.
I was going, well, I'm also a gay man, so I'm like, this is going to sound really gay, a dolphin, but it's not. It's because it's gliding, it's moving, it's constant and move, but gracefully. Nice. And throughout my writing, it's been a constant moving and creating, but with grace, because a lot of it is so personal and so emotionally healing. And yeah, so it's gliding, like you glide through life.
Do you ever Google yourself? And if you so, are you happy with the results?
Yes, I have. And anybody who hasn't is lying, right? Yeah. Yes, I have. The biggest time around, we were touring the play Crippled, and we were invited to go to the United States, and we had trouble with immigration to get, because I wanted to do all legally, because I had to take a team down there, and we got turned down by the United States, and this made national headlines because I think the Canadian press ran a story on it, and so the headline ran throughout the country: Paul Power banned from United States. so which is not accurate, right? The play was, but I was so worried, and I kept checking that, because I think at the time then I wanted to do a trip to Disney with like my niece and sister or something, and I was like, it's just going to, they got little radars and everything all the time for people. And I was seeing how prominent this headline was, and, all throughout the country and US, it was Paul Power banned from the United States. And sounds like, it was personal and for me. So that's the funniest Google, and they're still there, right? So
it never goes away.
No. So that's my favorite Google search that I did.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I gotta say, I might get that framed on my wall if I were you. Just like,
right.
Yeah. See, this is another story that's in the sitcom that's going to be made about you, starring you doing a voiceover about your life. This is another episode of the sitcom, like the time that you got banned from the United States, and in like a Seinfeldian twist, you end up like banning the United States from you, like or something like that. Because by the end of this interview, we're going to have a whole sitcom pitch ready. We're going to bring it to NBC. It's going to be fun.
That's right. Yeah. We should collaborate, right?
Yep. What, if any, literary pilgrimages have you gone on?
Yes, I'm actually crippled. Because the setting for Crippled, the play takes place on the waterfront of St. John's, and I went down there and spent some time down there. Actually, if you ever read or see the play and you want to know exactly where it inspired, it's Harbourfront Park down off Water Street is the total vision I see when I was writing that, and I was inspired by that. The other place that I really love to go, that doesn't have to do with Cripple, but is out in Cape Spirit, and even when it's not great out, I'll sit in my Jeep and write with the old-fashioned pen and paper. There's something about the ocean for me, and the freeing feeling of that wind and open space. I get inspired a lot more there than, even if I'm just writing my own, personal journal or something, or want to want to figure something out, which I do a lot through writing as well, just write about it. It's in those open spaces by water. I'm really, really drawn to.
Nice. I like that. Awesome. Paul, what does success for this play look like for you? Like, what's your dream goal where it's like, it'll be successful when X happens? You know what I mean? Like, what's success look like for this project?
Well, two things: the performance of the play, and then we're talking about the publication of the play. I mean, I try to stay grounded, and I can honestly say, like, I've so many of dreams have already come true in the way of the play, and getting to perform it, in Ontario and around Canada, but still getting to the United States would still be great.
It's too bad you're banned.
Yeah, which is still a possibility. It's not off the board, but the thing about the publication of the play, of course, I'd love for people to read it, and I'd love to hear they like it, because I think it's a good story, but also because it's such a personal story. When we were performing it, a lot of people came up to me who said that they were really touched by the way I expressed, dealing with grief, that grief journey, more so than the disability side of it, anything like that. A lot of people were touched by that, and that success for me as a writer. And when we're performing it, and it's still as a writer, because we're performing the words I wrote, hearing people sniffling in the audience or crying, that is success for me. When I know my work has touched in a certain way that I intended it to, that to me is I've done a good job. More so than, of course, I'd love to be rich, of course, but it's that's more to me as a writer, because it also proves to me, okay, I can write, or I can convey those emotions that I want people to feel, and getting that immediate feedback in the theater world, when you hear audience reaction is such a payoff. And the other thing is getting Crippled, the play, published by Breakwater. Is a lot of the times that doesn't happen, right? When you do a play, especially in, we're kind of isolated here in Newfoundland as compared to the rest of the theater world across Canada, and we don't get a chance as much to share our work. And I've known so many plays, through the years, original works that have gone off, have been great, and then 20 years down the road, no one remembers them, or nobody can even find a copy of the script. To have an original work published, it means, it's there, it's not going anywhere. And that's success to me as a writer, as well as it's not going anywhere. It's almost keeping the flame burning when it comes to the plays about losing my partner Jonathan, and he's there, he's present in that play, and knowing that relationship and that presence is there in a published form is success for me, because no matter what happens to me or through the years, that will be there. And maybe 50 years from now it will be there in someone's basement, but it will be there. It's there.
Speaking of, you said that making your listeners or your viewers cry. Paul, what was the first book or play or whatever you remember that made you cry?
The earliest I can remember that had it's one of those ones you had to read, and I can't remember now, it was elementary or high school, Separate Peace. And that was I love any story that's about a coming of age and friendship and looking at the human nature. Yeah, I remember that. I cried. I think I was hit emotionally when it was over, because I enjoyed it so much, the evolution of that relationship, and the young boy questioning if he pushed his friend off a branch. I believe it's been years since I read that, but that was the first one that sort of propelled me to look for other stories, longer stories. And it's probably one of the first experience of, I know that's a short novel, but it's a long story. We're switching from short stories to long stories as you get older, right? And the appreciation.
What is your favorite comic book character?
I don't know why, but it's always Aquaman.
I love Aquaman. That's a new one. Okay. I like Aquaman.
Yeah, and I think it's still the water thing.
Yeah, dolphin. There's a theme going on here. Like you like writing, you pilgrimage to the ocean, you like being near the ocean to write. Favorite superhero is Aquaman. There's a theme.
There is. It's like, see, I'm more consistent than I think. But
Paul, what is your favorite childhood book?
There was this book, childhood book. It was called The Pokey Little Puppy.
Okay.
You're getting me to think of things that I haven't thought of in years. And it was about just a little puppy who just got into trouble, right? Poking his nose and all different things. But the puppy was Then puppy was so cute, and so it was a pokey little puppy, and it also reminded me, I guess. So I had this stuffed dog, and of course, as a creative as I am, I called him Puppy. So, that signifies my childhood of images, and that book, with that stuffed animal in my arm while being read to.
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense. The Pokey Little Puppy. That's another one I'm gonna have to look up now.
You have to, and you'll agree that the puppy's really cute.
I swear I remember that. I used to work with children. I swear that was on the shelves, like an old battered version. I read it a few times to them. Yeah. Own stuff. Let's see. All right. Here's the impossible question. The worst question. Paul, what is something that you love that you would give up in order to be a better writer? Let's pretend the devil knocks on your door tomorrow and there's a deal. You can be a world famous writer, the best writer in the business, the most profitable writer in the business, but you have to give up something you love. Not the thing you love most, but you have to love it, and you have to give it up in order to get this. What are you giving up?
Giving up my Jeep.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, I had. I have this Jeep. It's a 2011, and it's beginning to show its age, but it's paid off. But I've traveled many, many miles in this Jeep, and so it's almost like it's an extension of me, and I love the Jeep because it can go places cars can't. Like, I feel so powerful in that, and it's a great. I'd say that's my material possession love. Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah, that's cool. That's so. I mean, pardon me for saying this, but that's so cool. It's this like that you've chosen a vehicle like you alluded to there that can go other places that other vehicles can't. It's almost like a you know Absolutely. What I'm trying to say.
I know what you're trying to say.
I can't think of the word. Metaphor's the wrong word, but like that's cool.
It's like and I feel so I use leg braces and crutches, and I stand at I think 4'8", 4'9" if I'm lying, and on top of the Jeep, you're higher than a lot of cars on the road, and you can do this off-roading thing, and I haven't really done a lot of off-roading. Like, knowing me, I'd probably get stuck, but you have this feeling of power or safety, and especially in the winter and that. And I bought this Jeep, or signed the lease for it. Jonathan was still alive, and it's the most impractical thing for someone on crutches. And he used to joke with me, I can't even reach the windshield to clear it in the winter. So I used to get Jonathan to do it, right? So it's but I love it, and I feel like, hey, look at me on the road, right?
See, this is another episode of the sitcom. There's going to be an episode where you're in line, like to get coffee or something, and so the push bag in front of you is going to be like a butthead to you, and then he's going to leave with his coffee. He's going to go get in his car, and then you're going to go get in your Jeep, and you're going to cut him off and go off-roading and show him. You know what I mean? This is a thing. Yeah. We got this. We got the whole first season planned. No joke.
It sounds like Netflix will love it, right?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. You can get these cute little 5-episode seasons out. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. Right? Yeah. Oh my. Last one. Well, I'll go back to the one we said to skip. And again, we're not getting there's friggin' 56 questions on this list. Nobody has answered all of them. I randomly pick through and go which one. I scroll up and down and go that one. And there's no science to it, whatever. It's right. I want to ask Paul this. You know what I mean? There's no one's answered them all, I don't think. So if you're skipping one, no one's going to notice. But I'll go back to the one that you got me to skip, and if you want to skip it entirely, that's fine as well. Paul, have you ever read anything that made you feel differently about fiction?
You know, I can't. What I will say to that is I can't pick like a particular author, but it amazed me that I mean, as yourself, like a lot of people, it amazed me that you could make a living out of this, out of creating and writing what comes out of your head, you know, as you know, and actually, you know, make some kind of living out of it, and more so than, you know, as a kid growing up and writing for, you know, as a hobby sort of thing. So it always amazes me. It's like, oh, I can do this, and I can invite other people to read it or watch it and actually make a living at it. That's the thing that amazes me, like with pieces I've seen that have been successful, especially local authors, right? So that's what inspires me.
Yeah, I gotta say, there's a weird moment now that you're saying that I think about it. But like for years, I was working like a crappy office job, not even like a writing office job, like doing copyright, just like tech support kind of stuff. And I was doing that, and I was writing on the side, and I had this dream of like, all right, well, when I paid my dues enough, when I've got this security job, basically a safety net job. When right. I've made enough from that I can like buy a house and settle down and like have a bit of security, then I'll think about writing full time. And it really just never happened. Like things just kept coming up. And finally I got to this point where I was like, you know, F it, and quit the job and went full-time writing. And within a year, we're like of dedicating to it. Like we were doing well enough that we could finally get the house. We could never get it when I had steady work, but now with the arts we can. And that's cool.
It is cool.
Maybe what I should be asking you is, have you ever seen a play that kind of impacted how you think about writing plays?
Right. What's the name of that play? Give me a second.
Sure. Don't say Hamilton.
God, I can't believe I forgot the name of it. Creeps.
Creeps. Okay.
So there's a play called Creeps that was written in the 70s, and it was, I don't know, I saw a production of it when I was going to school in Toronto in the 90s. And it's about 4 or 5 friends who are at a sort of a daycare program for people who have cerebral palsy or in wheelchairs. And it's just about them and their lives. And it was the first time I had seen a story about adults or young men my age at the time, which was my 20s, with a disability in a story / on stage. So it sort of inspired me. It was really important to me to see myself represented in some form on stage or in a story, and knowing that, you know, you can do that. And the thing that propelled me was when I saw it at the theater in Toronto. It was a packed house. So it was also, you know, proving to me that people were interested in this story. So that was pretty impactful for me.
That's such a cool moment. I've heard a version of that so many times before, but like not that exact story, but representation is so important, and I get it more and more. I don't think I'll ever get it. I'm unbelievably spoiled, you know, like cis white idiot basically kind of thing. But like more and more as I having these conversations with authors from diverse backgrounds, regardless of what that background is, kind of thing, and that story keeps coming up. Like the first time you read a book that have characters in it that's reflective of you, because I'm spoiled. Like I've had characters in books that are reflective of me from the second I could read. Like see Jane run, or see, not see Jane run, but see Jim run, or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that version of it. Like, oh, there I am. Like immediately. You know what I mean? And I don't think people realize the effect of like seeing yourself moralized can have. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's it's the impact, right? And yeah, I even growing up, I guess it's the way you were raised, right? And because I'm also, I things I've been through in my life and everything, I also account, even though I live with a disability and that I'm also very lucky. I was born into, a middle-class white family on the east side of St. John's and all that sort of stuff, and how lucky, it's all about, almost the luck of the draw. But I think I was raised, in that white, able-bodied environment, and I didn't even question about the lack of not seeing my identity in books or on screen until I started seeing it and noticed, right? It's very impactful.
It actually shocks me whenever Newfoundlanders don't get that about some of our communities, like our oh God, what's the word I'm looking for here? Some of our diverse communities, diverse is the word I'm looking for. It shocks me when any Newfoundlanders don't get that, because in some ways, like, being a Newfoundlander is in some ways being diverse. You know what I mean? When combined to when looked at from the rest of Canada or the North America or a global perspective, like Newfoundland is this little bubble, and you can tell because the second anything Newfoundland hits mass media, like a TV show set here, a play like Come From Away set here, a movie set here, anything like that, we just latch onto it and we're like, oh, we get to see ourselves represented. And I'm like, how can you not get it? It's this, but for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's
absolutely,
yeah. And sometimes it doesn't matter that play or TV show or whatever is just horrible. Like, I tried watching Republic of Doyle. I tried. Everyone losing their minds, and I swear to God, I love that actor. He's a very nice man, but like, everyone I know that watched that show, not one of them could tell me the plot of an episode. Everyone was looking in the background for extras to see who they recognized.
Yeah.
But it's Newfoundland. You go, that's Jimmy. I know it's Jimmy. Oh, he didn't tell me he was going to be in tonight's episode.
Right.
Jimmy.
Yeah, that one. And I haven't warmed up. Yeah, it's hatching and matching and dispatching or something. Or these ones that make the national airwaves, right? And I'm sort of like, no wonder they think we are what we are. Like,
yes, it's fun.
My dream is I want to write a TV series based in Newfoundland that's about not about the east side and west side of St. John's, and the two different types of cultures or families, right, or classes even. I want to show, like, we're not all like on the outport.
Oh, you really cut out there.
Hatching, matching, dispatching.
Yep. I lost all that. I got from the airport to hatching, matching, dispatching, and your video is finally back. But that's okay. We'll leave that. I was gonna cut it off there anyway. Thanks for real. Thanks so much for coming on with me, Paul. This has been wonderful.
This is a lot of fun.
Well, Paul, that's amazing. It's been a pleasure talking to you and sharing this with you. Everyone, please check out Crippled from Breakwater Books, wherever their books are sold. It's worth a read. You'll enjoy it, and it'll be an experience for you. You'll get, like it was for me. And it's all script form. You'll get through it fairly quickly and have that kind of experience, and it's wonderful. And when the play is back in theaters, please check it out. It's definitely worth seeing. Paul, thank you very much for coming on the Right Project podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks for coming on again. For all of you, we'll be here again next week at 4:30 Newfoundland time or online at chmr.ca. Please tune in and we'll talk more about writing culture in Newfoundland.